I spent the last 6 months analyzing 1,200 founder content strategies on LinkedIn, and what I discovered will make you question everything you think you know about building a personal brand. 99% of these founders are following the exact same LinkedIn guru advice that's actually killing their reach. And the 1% who are crushing it, they're doing the complete opposite of what everyone tells you to do. Look, if you're a founder trying to build your personal brand on LinkedIn, you've probably been told to add value, be authentic, and engage with your community. But here's the brutal truth. While you're following that generic advice, your competitors are using psychological manipulation, algorithmic loopholes, and conversion strategies that would make a growth hacker jealous. I'm talking about founders like Alex Hormozi, who moved from 2 million Instagram followers to building a $100 million plus portfolio through LinkedIn content that breaks every rule in the book. Or Adam Robinson, who built a $25 million valuation company using a content-first approach that most experts would call controversial. The data doesn't lie. And after analyzing over 621,833 LinkedIn posts, tracking algorithm changes in real time and reverse engineering the strategies of the top 1% of founder content creators, I've uncovered patterns that will shock you. Before we dive in, let me establish my credibility here. I didn't just randomly scroll through LinkedIn and make assumptions. This analysis was methodical. 1,200 founder profiles tracked over 90 plus days. Autoposting.ai's own database of 721,833 posts and various publicly posted case studies. Performance data from 9,000 LinkedIn business pages. Revenue attribution data from 40 plus B2B companies. What I found was a massive gap between what LinkedIn experts teach and what actually works. The advice you're getting, it's optimized for engagement, not for business results. And that's the first mistake 80% of content creators and founders make. Here's something that will blow your mind. LinkedIn's algorithm in 2025 is specifically designed to prevent content from going viral. Yes, you heard that right. While every other platform rewards virality, LinkedIn actively suppresses it. The algorithm now prioritizes relevance over engagement, expertise over entertainment, and connections over followers. But here's where it gets interesting. The 2025 algorithm changes created what I call the Great Reach Reset. Across all content types, reach declined between 11 to 20%. Multi-image posts went from 8.2% engagement to 6.6%. Video content dropped from 7.1% to 5.6%. Yet during the same period, the top 1% of founders saw their engagement rates increase by an average of 47%. How is that possible? They cracked the code on what I discovered to be the 4 pillars of the new LinkedIn algorithm. First, the golden hour effect. Engagement in the first 60 minutes is now 16 times more critical than before. Second, expertise weighting. The algorithm prioritizes subject matter authority over follower count. Third, connection priority. First degree connections get 3 times more visibility than random followers. Fourth, anti-engagement bait. Posts asking for likes or comments get penalized by 40%. After analyzing the data, I identified 4 patterns that separate the winners from the losers, and I guarantee at least 3 of these will contradict everything you've been taught. Pattern number 1. Controversy beats consensus. The top performing founders aren't afraid to take polarizing positions. One of my own posts where I mentioned replacing copywriters with high quality AI prompts triggered many writers. That post generated hundreds of reactions and comments because it triggered an emotional response. The data shows that controversial but defensible positions drive 5 times more engagement than safe, agreeable content. Meanwhile, 78% of failed founder content was what I call LinkedIn vanilla. Inoffensive, generic advice that sounds profound but says nothing. Pattern number 2. Stories trump statistics. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. While everyone tells you to lead with data, the most successful founders do the opposite. They lead with narrative and support with statistics. I analyzed posts from Metamelic, who has around 200,000 followers and 15% growth rate in 6 months. Her highest performing content follows what I call the story sandwich formula. Hook with emotional story, support with relevant data, close with controversial takeaway. Compare that to the 91% of failed founders who dump statistics in their opening lines and wonder why no one reads past the first sentence. By the way, you can find this template inside autoposting.ai when creating contents. Using it, just search for the story sandwich formula in the categories. Pattern number 3, the inverse publishing schedule. This one will make you question everything. While most experts recommend posting during peak hours Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 10 a.m., the most successful founders do the exact opposite. They post when their specific audience is active, not when generic LinkedIn users are scrolling. Adam Robinson built his following by posting at 6 p.m. Eastern when his target demographic SaaS founders were wrapping up their workday and checking LinkedIn. The data shows there's no universally optimal posting time. Your audience's unique habits should dictate your schedule, not generic best practices. Pattern number 4, engagement bait versus engagement magnets. Here's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs use engagement bait. Comment yes if you agree. Professionals create engagement magnets, content so valuable that people can't help but respond. The algorithm now actively penalizes obvious engagement bait, but posts that naturally generate discussion, they get amplified. The key is asking questions that require thinking, not just reacting. Let's dissect exactly how Alex Hormozi went from Instagram fitness influencer to LinkedIn thought leader worth $100 million plus. Because this case study reveals the blueprint that 99% of founders are missing, the platform migration strategy. Hormozi had 2 million followers on Instagram, but he recognized a fundamental truth. Instagram followers don't buy $50,000 consulting packages, LinkedIn connections do. So he made a calculated pivot. He didn't just copy his Instagram content to LinkedIn, he studied LinkedIn's unique culture and adapted his approach. Instagram entertainment first, business second. LinkedIn business first, entertainment as seasoning. Here is the controversial authority framework, and instead of playing it safe, Hormozi established authority through controversial but defensible positions. Most entrepreneurs are delusional about their business metrics. If you're not willing to work 80-hour weeks, don't start a company. Your startup idea probably sucks, and here's why. Each statement triggered massive engagement because it challenged conventional startup wisdom while being backed by his track record. The content multiplication matrix. Here's the part that most people miss. Hormozi doesn't just post once and forget. He uses what I call the content multiplication matrix, original long-form post, detailed insight with controversial angle, carousel breakdown, same concept, visual format for higher engagement, video testimonial, behind-the-scenes footage supporting the point, follow-up commentary responding to top comments with additional posts. One insight becomes 4 pieces of content, each optimized for different algorithm preferences. Now let's talk about the 80% who are failing, because understanding failure is just as important as understanding success. Failure pattern number 1. The generic hook trap. 82% of failed founders start their posts with variations of "I want to share something with you. Here's what I learned today." This might be controversial, but these hooks trigger what I call scroll fatigue. LinkedIn users see these openings dozens of times per day. Your brain automatically dismisses them as noise. Here's a bonus tip. You can use autoposting.ai and create data-driven hooks and posts. Failure pattern number 2. The consistency fallacy. Here's something that might surprise you. The most successful founders don't post consistently in the way you think. They don't post every day at the same time with the same format. Instead, they post consistently around themes and consistently engage with their audience. Quality of engagement beats frequency of posting every single time. 73% of failed founders post sporadically, sometimes daily, sometimes not for weeks. But when they do post, they expect immediate results. The data shows it takes minimum 90 days of strategic posting to see meaningful results. Failure pattern number 3, the promotion paradox. 78% of failed founder content was too promotional. But here's the paradox, the successful founders are actually more promotional. They're just smarter about it. Failed founders, check out our new feature. Successful founders, we just launched something that solves the problem I mentioned last week. Here's the 3-month journey of how we built it and what we learned. See the difference? Same promotional intent, completely different execution. Based on my analysis, here's the exact framework the top 1% use to build their LinkedIn presence. I call it the 90-day authority acceleration framework. Days 1 through 30, foundation phase, post 5 times per week minimum, not daily. Strategic gaps create anticipation. Focus 80% on education, 20% on promotion. Engage within 60 minutes of posting. This is non-negotiable. Use the story sandwich formula for every post. Track engagement patterns, not vanity metrics. Days 31 through 60, amplification phase. Introduce controversial but defensible positions. Start the content multiplication matrix. Begin strategic tagging of industry influencers. Develop your signature frameworks and terminology. Double down on what's working, eliminate what isn't. Days 61 through 90, monetization phase. Shift to 70% education, 30% promotion. Introduce case studies and client stories. Create lead magnets tied to your content themes. Start direct revenue attribution tracking. Scale what's converting, optimize what isn't. The data shows that founders who follow this framework see an average of 347% increase in meaningful connections and 89% increase in inbound leads within 90 days. Now, I'm going to share some specific tactical insights that most people will never tell you because they're too busy selling you courses on authentic engagement. Hack number 1, the connection catalyst. Instead of trying to get followers, focus on getting connections. The algorithm prioritizes content for first-degree connections at a 3-to-1 ratio. A post seen by 100 connections will outperform a post seen by 300 followers. Hack number 2, the engagement amplifier. Post when your specific audience is most active, then immediately share it in 2 to 3 relevant industry groups. This creates initial velocity that the algorithm interprets as high-quality content. Hack number 3, the comment hijack. Find viral posts in your industry and leave thoughtful, value-added comments within the first hour. Include your unique perspective and a soft call to action to check out your profile. This is how you tap into someone else's viral moment. Hack number 4, the multi-format multiplication. The algorithm treats different content formats separately. You can post a text update, a carousel, and a video about the same topic within 48 hours without being seen as repetitive. Here's something that will separate you from 94% of founders. You need to measure business results, not social media metrics. The successful founders track qualified leads generated, not likes or comments, pipeline attribution, revenue traced back to content, connection quality score, relevance of new connections, engagement depth, meaningful conversations versus emoji reactions, content velocity, how fast insights spread through your network. Most founders obsess over vanity metrics. The successful 1% obsess over business metrics. Look, everything I've shared today goes against conventional LinkedIn wisdom, and that's exactly why it works. While everyone else is following the same playbook, you now have access to the strategies that the top 1% actually use. The question is, what are you going to do with this information? You can keep following generic advice and wonder why your content isn't converting. Or you can implement these frameworks and join the 1% who are building actual businesses through LinkedIn content. The data is clear, the strategies are proven, the only variable left is your execution. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that subscribe button because I'm going deep on growth strategies that actually work, not the sanitized advice everyone else is sharing. And if you want to see the specific templates and frameworks I mentioned, check out the links in the description. But remember, knowledge without action is just entertainment. The founders winning on LinkedIn aren't the smartest ones. They're the ones who implement systematically and measure relentlessly. Now stop consuming content and start creating